What's going on, guys? So I got another Flash video for you because this is kind of a response to a lot of you guys that were talking in the comments of my last video. Thank you, by the way. A lot of you guys had a lot of theories about, you know, what could be happening, like who Savitar is, what could be happening on the season finale, what all of that jazz. But two things came up way more than everything else. One being, a lot of you guys don't think that the lady in this video is Barry's mom, and you're saying that it's some new character that was just cast for the show. So you believe that is not Barry's mom, and that I'm wrong there. And two, a lot of you thought that the person that might have died and who was in the funeral, or who the funeral is for, is actually HR, and the HR that I said was in the freaking photo or the video is actually Harrison Wells from Earth 2. Hold up there, hombre. Those are some big, big claims, and that means I gotta go ahead and put on my freaking detective hat, and I am Wayne. Juice Wayne. So let's go ahead and get down to the bottom of this, because these are some big accusations and I want to cover them because you guys are actually making my freaking brain think. And if you follow me on Twitter, I already debunked the first one, which a lot of you thinking that this is not Barry's mom and it's actually this new actress that is cast for like a new scientist from the future. And this actress that is playing this new quirky scientist, from what I've read, is Anna Dudick, I think is how you say her last name. It's actually Ann, not Anna, because it's an E, right? Is that how you pronounce names? I don't know. Anyways, this is what Ann looks like, and you can tell from her hair, it's not very red like the person that we see in the video. Now, a lot of you could be like, Juice, she has red hair. Just look at Mad Men. And yes, in Mad Men, she did have red hair, but it's still not as red as the person in this video. Like, this is red, and you can tell from like a mile away. But I know that's not enough evidence to actually debunk this, because you guys, oh, they just dyed her hair and blah, 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 blah. That's something easily that they could have done, or she could have done that from, you know, one show to the next. But the biggest clue that this is freaking Barry's mom and not some future scientist. One, why is this future scientist there? Or why is she able to travel through time? Does she have a time machine? Does Barry bring her? There's a lot of questions for this future scientist. Is she a speedster? Like, what's the deal? Granted, she could just be using Gypsy or freaking Cisco to be jumping through time like they always do. But this is the biggest clue here, right? Okay, so this is what what's-her-name looks like, Anne looks like. And obviously we don't have any photos of her from The Flash because that episode hasn't aired yet. But we do have photos of Barry Allen's mom, and this is what she looks like right here. We've seen her multiple times, and then of course we saw her in the first episode where she died and everything like that. But one thing I will point out is, if you pay really close attention, the person from the video and Barry's mom are wearing these same damn clothes. It's true, the evidence is right there in the photos. She's wearing a freaking, like, very thin sweater, white shirt, blue jeans, and it looks like she's wearing flats. The same thing she's wearing in every photo of Barry's freaking flashbacks. And her hair is hella red. So, although you guys had me thinking that it could be this new scientist crazy lady that's gonna be coming, she's not crazy or anything, I just threw that in there because I like saying the words crazy lady, but anyways, you got a lot of you were saying that this is this new scientist lady who's gonna be Tracy Brand, I think is gonna be her name in the show. This Tracy Brand lady, a lot of you said it was her. I don't think so, because why the hell would Tracy Brand be wearing the same exact freaking clothes from Barry's mom? That would be really weird. And one thing I will point out is, if you go back and watch those videos from the World of Flash on their Instagram page, there is like a particular moment where, you know, Barry's mom is walking, or like, I guess they pull I should say, they make all the actors look towards her, and there's like this flash of light, which I'm assuming is the Speed Force. She's gonna show up, because she's kind of off to the side during the filming when everybody else is like saying their goodbyes. I think she's gonna show up, and that's where the flash of light's gonna be, and everybody's gonna be like, oh shit, it's Barry's mom or whatever, because everybody looks her way. And I think that's just showing that she's part of the Speed Force. And the Speed Force, we know, can make up any kind of clothes they want. They can make up any kind of person they want. So it's very possible, and I do think this is Barry's mom, and it is the Speed Force. Bada bing, bada boom, I hope there's not a mouse in your room. Now that Juice Wayne has solved the first problem, let's go on to the second one, because this one is really interesting, and it's really the one you guys actually had me thinking about a lot. Because, you know, it's a pretty solid theory, but there are some questions I have about it, and, you know, let's go ahead and talk about those. For those of you who don't read the comments, the theory is that HR is going to be the one that died. That's why everybody's at a funeral for someone. We know that everybody seems to be going to a funeral because they're all wearing black, and that's kind of what happens. So a lot of people assume that it's HR that died, and the freaking Harrison Wells that we're seeing is Harrison Wells from Earth 2. And I should say the evidence that a lot of people are putting forth is that look at the haircut and look at his mannerisms, and that is what a lot of people are going off of, saying that this is actually Harrison Wells and not HR because they're so different. And you know, it is, there are things for both arguments. And I'm going to go ahead and point out what I see right here. And I think the biggest one that I'm like, oh man, that might actually be Harrison Wells, is this shot right here when everybody's saying their goodbyes. Barry actually shakes his hand opposed to giving him a hug. And we kind of know that HR is a very hugging type of person. So it's just really, it's really curious to me that HR wouldn't give Barry a hug if it was the very last scene of this season and everybody was saying goodbye. So that is one big clue in my mind that it could actually be Harrison Wells instead of HR. Of course, with that thinking, I tell myself, why the hell is Harrison Wells there? But it's more than likely just because the Flash needs everybody he can get to help him out and try to beat Savitar. So he probably went and just got him from Earth 2 or told him to come over from Earth 2, and that's how he's helping him out. And that's what we're seeing going on here. So I can kind of believe the mannerism thing, but at the same time, if you really do watch all those videos, and this is all going to depend on the actual like angles of the filming, because a lot of these actors look like they're just looking to the side and stuff, meaning they're probably doing a close-up of like Barry and Iris at the time. But if you do watch those whole videos, and let's just say that everybody was in frame at the time, Harrison Wells does do like something like this, where he's kind of just like chilling, and he's kind of like messing with his belt and stuff like that. I feel like that's a very HR thing to do, but I don't think that's going to be on camera. But I'm just saying, like, if we're really going off mannerisms, we don't know how the angles of these things are being shot. So if everything was in full frame there, the way he was standing and stuff like that could be very HR. Now, the second bit of evidence that people were talking about, where they were like, look at the hair is a dead giveaway, but I don't know if it's really a dead giveaway. This photo right here is Harrison Wells. This photo right here is HR. HR has more of a polished hairstyle, whereas Harrison Wells has more of a shaggy hairstyle. But one thing I will point out in a lot of these photos, if you go back and check them out, is that usually HR seems like he has a haircut. He's got a little bit more shot, he's got a little bit more of the side shaved, but at the same time, we don't know what's going on in this timeline. He could have easily just not gotten a haircut for a while, and he's just still styling his hair, and as your hair gets longer, kind of like this, it just kind of starts forming its own thing, and it doesn't always go in the way you want it to. So the hair thing's a little bit hard for me to like make concrete evidence on for this Harrison Wells HR thing, because at the same time, this is clearly HR. It's from the Gypsy episode, and look at his hair there. His hair is hella shaggy in the wind and all that jazz, so the elements can totally make the hair very different. So I don't know, I don't buy the hair too much. If the hair was like, this is like, you know, he wore it all freaking alfalfa style, you know, troll style, and then everybody else had like shaven heads, then we would know for sure. But I don't know, the hair thing is very hard for me to buy right now because there's not really definitive evidence, and a lot of the screenshots are very kind of blurry. We don't have like HD stuff, and we don't have audio or anything like that. At least I haven't seen any of that. But as far as I know, I'm not going to say the hair thing is 100% solid evidence. Although I will say right here, this photo that has Wally, Killer Frost, and HR or Harrison Wells does look more like HR because the hair is going in a more slick motion and it's more polished. than I think Harrison Wells would have. But I'm going to throw one big bit of evidence at you guys that might actually change your mind or might actually prove that this is HR. Of course, I mean, maybe not 100%, but it might sway you more to be like, oh, you know what? That's probably HR. Because look at what he is wearing in the possible funeral scene before the whole final scene where they're saying all their goodbyes. HR is wearing some really slick clothing. I'm talking about, what is that, like a pea coat kind of thing with a vest and a nice shirt with stylized hair and some pants. That is very HR. Freaking Harrison Wells would wear a suit to a very, you know, like depressing situation or something like that. I feel like he'd be a lot more just like casual. HR is the one that would wear a freaking vest anytime because he's super hipster. Also in that photo, it looks like he has sunglasses, which you could totally see HR wearing some sunglasses in, you know, an episode like this, because it just puts on part of the ensemble, man. Although if they're glasses, that is totally more Harrison Wells. So the clothing in that photo is totally way more HR than it is Harrison Wells. But here's the one thing that I totally want to throw out there that might make you guys question this whole theory. Remember that Harrison Wells, or I shouldn't say Harrison Wells, I should say HR, and Barry was all like, oh, you were there. When Iris dies, remember we saw that one scene of HR on top of the roof with a gun, and he's wearing that hat. Now, the gun thing seems very, very Harrison Wells. He will use a gun. We've seen him use a gun before, so that could be Harrison Wells. At the same time, I don't think Harrison Wells would ever wear that freaking cap that HR wears all of the time. I don't think Harrison Wells would ever do that. And I know some of you are already thinking like, oh, what if it's a switcheroo and it's actually Harrison Wells pretending to be HR and blah, blah. I already thought about that. Very possible that could happen, but I don't know if they're gonna do that. Why? Tell me why that would be so significant. And remember, Savitar's already seen the future, and he says that HR, or the fake Wells, is the only one that survives his wrath. My battery is totally about to die, and I don't think I have the other one charged. But I just wanted to throw that stuff out there for you guys because I've been thinking about it. You guys talked about it a lot in the comments. I hope I cleared up the whole situation with his mom. It's totally his mom in that vision. Why she's there, how the Speed Force is able to show everybody else stuff, I don't know, but that is something to think about in the comment section down below. And hopefully, let's keep this HR Harrison Wells discussion going, because I'm pretty sure you guys have a little bit more information than I do, or you have different thoughts than I do regarding how it could be Harrison Wells and not HR, and how switcheroos could happen or whatever. Let's go ahead and talk about that in the comment sections down below. Guys and gals, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and share it with all your Flash buddies. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button for all things nerdy and geeky on this channel. As always, I'm your host, JUICEbox. Remember, when you wake up in the morning, ask yourself something. If I have my daily dose of juice, see you guys next time. Bye!